Welcome to our What's New SOLIDWORKS 2018 webinar. My name is Marverick Chung, Application Engineer at NCCS. In today's webinar, we'll take a look at some of the core enhancements of SOLIDWORKS 2018, much like one of the biggest launch events we host every year, Inno3D. Except this webinar will be a condensed version of it, showing you new tips and tricks and features that are most relevant to us. Throughout this webinar, we will use components from this caravan as examples. I'll be running through the whole presentation first, and towards the end we can answer some of your questions. I encourage you to get a pen and paper ready so that you can write down any interesting topics from this webinar, and you can practice and incorporate these new features into your design process. Here's a rundown of the topics. Some of these areas will have major new enhancements aimed at providing a more efficient workflow for our engineers and designers. And some of these topics brings out great new features that can potentially change how you approach and test your designs. SOLIDWORKS is also introducing CAM features that can help those of us who need to consider both engineering and manufacturing aspect of the designs. Let's get our webinar started. We have a new welcome screen in SOLIDWORKS 2018. This welcome screen puts all the common functions we need in one place for us. For example, creating a new parts, assembly, or drawing. We can also jump to recently viewed folders. Furthermore, we can access resources like My SOLIDWORKS. Links to learning resources, tutorials, and samples appears in the Learn tab. We also get technical alerts, which keeps us up to date with the latest SOLIDWORKS development. Recently opened files are also right there with an image preview. When opening an assembly, the new File Open Progress indicator lets you know exactly where SOLIDWORKS is up to getting your designs loaded. Not only do you see the elapsed time, but SOLIDWORKS indicates how long you may have to wait by letting you know how long it took to open it last time. We can now use the new Assembly Performance Dialog to get a deeper insight into how your assemblies is performing and which factors are slowing it down. It now shows you information such as open time, shaded image quality, and number of graphics triangles. Here, several parts have been set to very high image quality, which dramatically increases the number of graphics triangles, which can have a detrimental effect on your performance. SOLIDWORKS 2018 lets you clearly see all of this performance information within the Assembly Visualization tool. This is a really fast and convenient way to display all kinds of SOLIDWORKS information, and means you can identify problem components. Like this USB outlet. The part itself has a very high image quality, which is likely inappropriate for this scenario. Let's go and change the configuration. You can see after changing that, it's all the way down the bottom of the list in our assembly visualization. There's now a new top-level transparency option that turns every component transparent without the need to either set individual subassemblies transparent or to create new display states. This new mode lets you interrogate the model more thoroughly and removes the extra steps needed to add transparency. Folders are widely used to logically group parts and assemblies without creating more sub-assemblies. SOLIDWORKS 2018 now color codes these folders based on whether they contain hidden or suppressed items. This gives you a simple visual cue to help identify these objects faster. So take a look at an example here, just suppressing some of the components and hiding them. And have a look at the folder color code. So let's go ahead and suppress this. And we can see the change in folder icon. Mouse gestures are now more flexible than ever in SOLIDWORKS 2018. You can select two gestures, horizontal or vertical, right up to 12. It's simple to drag new commands into the gesture, and you can even copy them between modes by dragging and holding the Control key. You also have a handy printable guide to pin to your desk or office wall. It's common when zoomed right into the model that you need to box or lasso selected geometry or components. Previously, this requires you to select in open space before dragging. A new option for select over geometry removes this limitation. You can either select in the drop-down or use the T key shortcut to enable it. You can even use the Control key to box select multiple items. Let's take a look at assembly. When creating a linear pattern of components, you now have the ability to add an optional rotation. For example, this mug holder. After choosing the number of instances, you can simply select a rotation reference and specify incremental angle. This speeds up the creation of all kinds of innovative designs and removes the need for additional features. There we go. Now next, let's take a look at a mates enhancement. So let's take a look at the stovetop, for example. Adding mates between hidden surfaces can be challenging. SOLIDWORKS 2018 speeds up the process by allowing you to temporarily hide surfaces while in the mates command by pressing the Alt key. When working with components of different units or even imported parts, it's common for this scenario to happen, where the pins of the burner and the holes in the body do not exactly match. Previously, it would not be possible to add this second concentric mate. Now in SOLIDWORKS 18, you can create misaligned mates. This allows two concentric mates to be solved correctly by maintaining the concentricity of either mate, or by shifting the components symmetrically between the two. SOLIDWORKS accurately displays the result, giving you instant feedback. The Feature Manager displays useful information about the misalignment. The deviation of each mate from concentricity is shown, and you can set the maximum allowable deviation. This value can also be controlled by document property. Misaligned mates show up clearly in the mates folder. So you can see there. And for additional control, the ability to create these misaligned mates can be disabled via this system option here. This new capability removes the need to make small changes to legacy components that may be used in many assemblies. Creating exploded views is a great way to understand and communicate your design in SOLIDWORKS. Now with SOLIDWORKS 2018, you can quickly and easily create automatic explode lines using the Smart Explode Line tool. SOLIDWORKS automatically gathers all the components in the exploded view and preview each explode line. You can easily choose the origin or even drag to any point. SOLIDWORKS also allows you to apply this to every other identical instance, saving a load of time and effort. And as you would expect, modifying the explode view updates the explode lines instantly, keeping everything accurate and up to date. Let's go ahead and make changes to these bolts. Okay, you can see those lines has been updated correctly. Let's take a look at another topic in our next video.